Hey you guys, how you doing today or night? Welcome to the J Zone, and tonight I am talking about the Unsolved Mysteries 35th Anniversary Special Behind the Legacy. Now I saw this a week ago, last week, at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinemas. Now this was my first time at the Alamo. It's about a 3-hour drive from here, but I really enjoyed it. So if you've been there in your town or city, let me know if you liked it. I really liked the atmosphere, the decorations, the classic film posters. They have like several different VHS for rent, and you can rent VCRs, and they had like DVDs for rent. And the food was really good too. Now, where I live, we used to have a couple of like dine-in cinemas, but they've since closed. And ever since COVID, we've had so many theater closures. So I'm also a Regal employee, so we have in our area there's like one Regal left, and they closed like several other Regals. But anyway, I wish there was one closer, but I totally go back to the Alamo Drafthouse. So again, let me know how you thought about it. So the Unsolved Mysteries theme, just a little background. I've been a fan of Unsolved Mysteries probably since I was like 8 or 9, so a long time. So I was really happy to find out about this documentary, and as soon as I saw that it was going to be in Alamo theaters, I got tickets. So as you know, Unsolved Mysteries is hosted by Robert Stack, the original host. Well, not the first host, but from the classic era when it became a weekly series that premiered October 5th, 1988, which is actually the actual 35th anniversary. I saw this the day before it premiered on Pluto streaming, so I saw this on October 4th, but it ran. Robert Stack hosted from 1987 originally, but 1987 to 2002, and he later died in 2003. So I really enjoyed it. It's about the whole thing was about like, I guess like an hour, a little under an hour. I haven't watched it on demand yet. I've only seen it once, so forgive me if I miss anything. But I enjoyed it, and they showed a couple of bonus segments at the end, which what you got to see it if you saw it in the screening. But of course, it's also on Pluto TV, so you can see it there. But yeah, so what I mostly enjoyed about this, I talked about the history of the show, how it began. We heard a lot, more than anybody else, we heard a lot from the creators and executive producers, John Crossgrove and Terry Dunn Muir. So of course we heard from them the most. We heard from like some, I guess like some of the segment directors and producers and researchers. So what I enjoyed about it was like finding out like the casting process and how they went about the stories. This was before internet. So it seemed like the big thing was like newspaper, and they showed a whole bunch of articles, which I'd love to find some of those articles. If you found some, let me know, or if you collected any, let me know. But they went to the newspaper and casting people. That's one of my dreams. I'm also kind of like a aspiring actor, so I would love to do like one of these like true crime mysteries show, because I always wondered like how do they cast these people, because they're not like well-known professional actors. I know some of them are fortunate to go on to be that, but I'd love to do that. So if you have any information of that, let me know in the comments below. Let me know about that. So also one of my favorite things, they talked about the telecenter, which I love the episodes that feature that. And I think they explained that that was like I always wonder if that was like a studio, but it was like a real place where they had like so many operators. That's another job if I could have. I'm such a big fan of the show that also would have loved to have worked in the telecenter if I could. So I love the segments that featured that. And on the show, it seemed like they featured those more through like the season 8 through 9, and also that season, Keely Shea Smith became a correspondent. This was like between 1995 and 1997, so I love those segments. And season 8 is like one of my favorite seasons, so I always go back to that a lot. And what else did I talk about? When they got to the theme song, I thought they could have talked more about the music and the impact of the music. They showed a clip from the theme song, but it was from like the 2001, 2002 Lifetime era of it. I think they did play a little bit at the beginning of the original 1987, 88 theme song. They could have gone more in depth, I thought, of the different variations of the theme song. And the original theme song that everybody knows, that was like the first theme song that was like from 87, 88 to like 93. Then in 90, from like 93 to 95, they had like a revamped theme song, and that one's pretty cool. My favorite is what they begin using in season 8 again. I love that theme song, and I'm so glad it was included on the soundtrack of this thing. One moment. But anyway, where was it? They talked about some of the actors on the show. They talked about Matthew McConaughey, who everybody knows. He's like, I guess, the biggest actor to come out of Unsolved Mysteries. He was in the Texas Most Wanted segment, but I think the criminal's name was Donald Eugene Bell. Correct me if I'm wrong. They showed some of that. And they also mentioned Daniel Day Kim. He was in a segment from season 6, I believe. And they also mentioned Cheryl Himes. She was in a segment about a nanny who abused a little girl from season 9. And so those are the 3 they mentioned. I did write down some other ones they mentioned that they didn't mention that I would have liked. Bill Moseley. He was at a Mad Monster convention not too long ago, so I would have loved to have talked to him about the segment. He was in the segment, I believe, Lucky School, which I can't believe they may have mentioned this in this documentary. I'm not totally sure. But he's famous for a lot of things, but mostly I know him from Chop Top and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. So, and Hill Harper, he was another actor who was on Unsolved Mysteries. I think we got all of that. See what's on the back. And so, some of the segments that they featured that I did like were, they did the Gail Delano segment. That was from season 1. I enjoyed that one. And they talked about a little bit about how these were solved. They did the Jerry Strickland, Missy Monday segment. They talked about that and how they were actually watching the show the night it aired, and they were actually waiting for the police to arrive soon after that. They talked about the David Davis, Shannon Moore story. More so, they were talking about like some of the actors and getting them, and they talked about how this actor was like, yeah, I can ride a horse, I can do that, and they showed some clips of him trying to ride a horse. I guess he wasn't like an expert horse rider. They talked about Bigfoot. I think this was the original Bigfoot segment that aired early in season 1 or season 2. They did Amelia Earhart. That was nice, from one of the like historical segments. They talked about a little bit of the UFO from December of 1980. I believe this was also in Texas, I think. Betty Cass, Vicki Landrum. They talked a little bit about their segment. And some of my favorites, they talked about Voice from the Grave, the Teresita Basa story, where a woman was murdered, and then she ended up possessing a coworker of hers who was also a nurse, and she named her own killer from Beyond the Grave. Yeah. And also, my favorite one that they probably mentioned, Sydney James, is one of my favorite segments about a woman who endured 7 years of harassment, threatening notes, vicious, violent attacks, anonymous phone calls. And this case remains unsolved. She was eventually found dead, and was kind of suggested that she may have had multiple personalities, and she may have committed an elaborate suicide, that's a fascinating case. I wish Netflix would really make a documentary about that, because they make great true crime documentaries. And they also did a little bit of the Dennis Dupuy case. I think they could have touched a little more on that and how that was the influence from Jeepers Creepers, the scene in that movie where a couple is following him down the road and they're playing a game, trying to read his license plate. So they could have got a little bit more of that. Now, after this was over, like I said, they showed 3 bonus segments, which were Unknown Arsonists from season 3, Rainboy from season 5, I believe, and the Angela Hammond case, which for some reason I thought that case was solved, but evidently it isn't. That was from season 4. Now, I'm surprised they didn't show the Texas Most Wanted segment with Matthew McConaughey, because since he was one of the most famous actors, that would have been great to see, and I thought they would have chosen that one, but for whatever reason they didn't. Now, if you've been following me, I always write down what I'm going to talk about on my little trusty index cards, because I want to make sure I have anything. Maybe it's old-fashioned, but, you know. Now, these are some missing, unmentioned segments that I thought they could have talked about. The Gulf Breeze UFO, which is a missing segment, meaning it's not on the digital streaming services, on the Film Rise version. That was an interesting one. D.B. Cooper, they could have dived into that. The Terra Cleo story, which is a very popular one from season 2. Again, a missing segment. I thought they could have focused more on some of the supernatural ghost story segments. I would have loved to hear about that. The closest one that they pretty much focused on was Rainboy for whatever reason, but I enjoyed the original Halloween episode that aired on October 26, 1988 during the first season. And you had the Tallman ghost, you had Tatum's ghost, you had, I think, the Queen Mary and the General Rain In. They could have done some of those. In Circleville Letter Writer, I want to say they talked about that, but I don't think they did. But that's an interesting one they could have delved into. And also maybe touched on how they did several historical stories, such as MLK, RFK. They did do Amelia Earhart. I'm sorry if I already mentioned that. Let's see. Earhart. Yeah, they did that one. Okay. And Heidi Wyrick, Mr. Gordy's Ghost, that would have been a good one to see. I did enjoy that they talked about how they actually filmed these on location with the actual town and the law enforcement and the people who are involved in the stories. And they also went to different countries. I didn't write anything down from that segment, but I think they went to like Peru and Mexico and so many other different places, which was nice. I'm definitely going to check this out again when I get a chance. And delve into some more Unsolved Mysteries content would it be in the October Halloween season. So, yeah, if you guys saw this documentary special, let me know what you thought. Y'all have been kind of bashful in the comments. Please comment, comment, comment. I hope you liked this video. Again, if you liked it, give it a like, comment, let me know what you thought of it. Did you experience this and attend the Alamo Drafthouse in your theater? So let me know what you guys thought. Alright, again, this is the J-Zone. I'm Jay. Stay tuned for check out my other videos. And also I did a previous short video when I went to the draft house. You want to check out some video and photo footage from that. Check out my previous shorts. Check out my other videos. I don't know if you saw my little print I got here from season 8, Robert Stack, Keely Shea Smith there. It's a little cool. Alright, stay tuned for my future videos that I've been teasing. I promise they're coming very soon. The time I met Michael Jackson and my kidney transplant story. Alright, this is the J-Zone. Thank you guys for tuning in. Oh, and one last thing, remember, for every mystery, there is someone somewhere who knows the truth. Perhaps that someone is watching. Perhaps it's you.